Let me get it like. Let me get it like. Whoa!
All right. What's good, everybody? This is EQ from La Familia Music Group, and we bring to you the What's Dope in the Slow podcast. And on this episode, I bring a very special guest. She sponsored the podcast, and she does so much for our community. I got Nichole Suarez with me from FOF Family Insurance. How you doing, Nichole?
Great. Thanks for having me. I super appreciate this. This is such a great opportunity, and am super thankful that I'm being able to be a part of something like this. So this is pretty amazing.
Yeah, no worries. Thank you so much for supporting the podcast and everything else that you're doing. You know, it's very helpful, and you know, we help each other out. So that's amazing that you do a lot of stuff with the community. So I want to ask you, for people that don't know, what are some of the things you do? What are you involved in the community? And then we'll just take it from there.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks. So we are life insurance agents.
Okay.
First and foremost, our agency actually we are a full agency that offers different products, right? So life insurance is my passion. That's actually how I got started. But then we also do offer like supplemental health, which is through AFLAC. Mm-hmm. And then we do Medicare. So we help our senior population as well, who are 65 and older. Or maybe there's somebody who's disabled, who's 18 or over, who is struggling figuring out what their medical plans need to be like, and what can really benefit them and their health. So we have a team of agents who work specific on the Medicare side, and then we have a team of agents who work specific on the life insurance and AFLAC side. Okay. So full on agency. All of our agents are actually local.
That's
We're
cool.
all born and raised here.
Sweet.
So it's pretty cool to be able to see them being a part of a community in a different realm as well. But we also love, yes, we do insurance, right? But it goes beyond that. It goes into the community. Youth is something that's very heavy on my heart, and leadership. So I'm also part of the Rotary Club. We do a lot of development with the leadership team there that trickles down to the youth, right? So I've got 3 kids of my own, so I want to be able to make sure that the community that I'm bringing them up in is a community that I can back with like principles and values and what they're coming in to learn, right? So that's really big for us, being able to give back to the community. We all at some point have had to have that hand being reached out to us, right? So we've been super blessed to be able to now be the ones to help out and be able to give back to our community, which I think is such a blessing on our part, but also something that I think we forget a lot about doing, right?
Right.
And making sure that we are being humble, going back to our roots and remembering that we all had to start somewhere. So switching that around to be able to offer that mentorship and that helping hand to other individuals in the community is definitely something that's heavy on our hearts for sure.
And this episode is brought to you by FOF Insurance Agency, your trusted source for life insurance solutions, helping individuals and families protect their financial future by providing you with the understanding and affordability of life insurance coverage. Whether it's help with life insurance with living benefits, 401k rollovers, or saving money on taxes, FOF Insurance Agency is ready to help. Schedule your appointment today with Nichole Suarez at 970-209-5148. Again, that's 970-209-5148. Se habla español. Oh, that's super sweet. I mean, especially in our community here in Montrose, it's very needed, and in other communities as well. But here in Montrose, you know, the youth is very important. That's something that we focus as LFMG as well, you know, because so it's really dope that you're providing all of that, you know. So for the people that are interested or maybe, you know, tuning in and listening about life insurance and the other categories or things you provide, what's the importance of life insurance, or why should somebody get life insurance?
It's a great question. So this is, of course, me being biased, right, as a life insurance agent, right? Of like, everybody needs life insurance.
That's right.
Unfortunately, I mean, I come from the Hispanic Latino community, right? Growing up, education when it came to finances was not great, right?
Right.
You majority of the time what we learn is from our parents, right? And if our parents didn't know how to manage their money, guess what's going to happen to you? You're probably not going to know how to manage it as well, right? So it is one of those things that I feel like there's such a need. It comes down to the education, right? It's super important, but it's also something that we don't know that it's important because we don't understand it, right? So until somebody takes the time to educate you on what life insurance is and how it works, one, we're not going to purchase it. We're not going to understand it. And so we're just going to avoid it, right? I always tell people the two things in life that we can never avoid, right? These are two things, is taxes and death. I don't care who you are or what you do.
Right.
Those are the two things in life that are unavoidable. Even if you think you're immortal, you're not.
Right.
And you definitely will need to have that at some point. So I actually at one point found myself sitting at a table with other family members when we lost my grandma. And it was shortly after that, actually, that I got into the insurance industry. Okay. But sitting at that table, and I want you to imagine, like, that's your family, right? That's your son, your daughter, your mom, your grandma. We are all part of some kind of family, right? And so at some point, that could be today, that could be tomorrow, we're not going to be here, right? And so the question is it important for you to make sure that your family is taken care of when that event happens, right? It's not if it's going to happen, it's when it's going to happen. And so it's really making sure that people are educated and they understand that they can go to bed tonight and have that peace of mind, because that's what you're buying. You're buying peace of mind that if I don't wake up tomorrow, my family is going to be okay, right? And so the importance of it is when you're at that table and you're sitting down with the funeral home and they're like, okay, these are the services, these are our options for your loved one, right? There's all these decisions that have to be made. What casket are you going to pick out? Or is it going to be cremation? Or is it going to be, I mean, there's all these things that we have to figure out. And like my grandma didn't leave anything figured out. So we had to figure that out. Yeah. Majority of people don't have a will. They don't have stuff figured out. So it's like the family's like, I don't know what we're supposed to do, right? We're hoping we're making the right decision. But then they also slip you a bill, right? And they're like, here's your bill for $20,000. We need that paid by like next week. I'm like, okay, great, right? So everybody's around the table and like looking at each other like, who's going to foot this bill, right? I didn't have 20 grand in my account at that time to just drop that and be like, okay, we're good. So it puts you in that financial burden, right? You're already grieving. You're already thinking of all these other things that need to be done. Finances shouldn't be an issue. I should have been able to say, hey, my grandma has a life insurance policy. Next on the list, because the agency that you're working with is going to say, oh, great, we can contact the insurance company. Finances are now not an issue, right? But we think that was just burial, right? So think of you and I. We are a young family, right? We have children. And so if I were to pass away tomorrow, I am not just leaving a burial expense. I am leaving my husband with a home, with a mortgage, right? With car payments, with debt. I'm also leaving him with 3 children that he has to take care of. It's like $250,000 a year to raise a child, right?
Kids aren't cheap. Kids are not
so
cheap.
It's like, I mean, just right there, you need a policy to take care of one kid. And so it's definitely more than just the burial. But then not only have you lost that person, he lost me in the burial and all that, and now the kids, and he's got to figure out life afterwards, but he's also lost my income. So these are a lot of things that people don't think about is like, oh, it's just, they'll figure it out. Well, yeah, maybe they figure out the burial, but then they're used to a certain lifestyle, right? They're used to that income coming in. So if I'm not there anymore, guess what? Neither is the income, right? So it really is about education and about knowing where our priorities are and what we're going to leave for our next generation. Generational wealth is something that is created, right? The rich do this, right? It's not a secret. Like if they want to, like, how do the rich keep making their money? Like they invest in life insurance because they know that one day they're not going to be here, and they're going to leave that to their children. They leave that to their children, and it continues to grow and grow until generation after generation, right? And so for me, if we look at the insurance industry, we all have a car, most of us, right?
Right,
I'll
right.
have a car and a home, whether we own it or rent it, right? The government tells us it's mandated for us to have insurance, right? On that vehicle, on that car, our freaking cell phones.
Right.
We have insurance on our cell phones,
Yeah.
right?
Oh, yeah.
So I always wonder if we have insurance on these materialistic things, a lot of which are mandated, car insurance is mandated, why do we hesitate and why don't we ever think about insuring the most valuable thing that we have? And we have one shot at. That's our life, right? Why not insure that? Because again, we're not guaranteed that our phone's going to break or our car is going to crash or our home's going to go on fire, but we insure it, right? And we go into the insurance agency and say, hey, I've got this 2023 Dodge whatever, right, in my car, in outside. How much is it going to be to insure it? And guess what they tell you? It's going to be like $200 or $300, right? To insure that. And you're like, okay, great. And you figure out how to do it, right? You figure out how to make that happen if you want to keep your truck.
Right.
So then I have people that come in and we're talking life, and my goal is to make sure that somebody has some kind of insurance, right? Most people are either not insured or underinsured. Okay, so we think of our average family, right? A couple $1 million is what you need to probably be properly insured. Everybody's case is different. Everything, is needs based. What individual families need.
Right.
But majority of people are either not insured or underinsured. So my goal is to get them something.
Okay.
And work with their budget, right? Sometimes I have to be a little harsh with them and put the reality of like, all right, guys, like you told me you could spend $40 a month. That's $10 a week, right?
Right.
That's like one less day at Starbucks. Not knocking Starbucks, but like, you know what I mean? It's like maybe one less trip to McDonald's, like, and take the hamburger off the menu this week. So, $40 a month to tell me that that's all you can afford to insure your life. And don't get me wrong, some people, that's all that they can afford.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm going to work with their budget, right? Some I have to challenge. I'm like, you realize you pay like $400 for car insurance.
Right.
That's more valuable than a $100
life.
policy maybe that can give you more coverage for your family. And a lot of it is just our priorities and making sure that that's in line. So there is that challenging part of having to challenge people and really just get them to understand what the value of that is and what it is that they're purchasing.
Right.
And making sure that they completely understand it, because just like anything, I don't know if you're this way, but I am. Somebody sells me something and I don't see value in it and I don't know how the heck to use it, or I don't know what it's about. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm probably not going to buy it and I'm probably going to cancel it. Right? So it's like, you've got to provide that value, and it comes in with education. It comes with educating individuals. And once they're well equipped and well educated, then I can only see so many people in a day, right?
Right.
I let you know about it. You understand it. Hey, you go talk to so-and-so. It's all word of mouth, right? And until we see in our community that it works, that's when, unfortunately, when people are like, oh, did you know so-and-so had a life insurance policy, he passed away, and his kid got, $500,000, blah, 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 right? We're very skeptical. Right. So it's hard to get people to understand that. They have to kind of see it to believe it.
And I feel like a lot of people, wait till this event happens for them to start looking into that, and I would have been the same way if I wasn't informed, right? And been told and just really educated, like you were mentioning, about life insurance and all that. So for the people that are maybe still tuning in and curious about this life insurance, where can they contact you to get more info about that?
So we have a website. You can go on 2 websites, or some people love them, some people hate them, right? Kind of depending on, some people just want that information, right?
Right.
But the website's a great way to look at all of our different products, different things that we offer, and that's www.fofinsuranceagency.com. But quickest and easiest way is to call me. Shoot me a call or a text, and that's at 970-209-5148. That's my cell phone. I can usually pick up unless I'm in a meeting, but those are the easiest way to contact us. On our website, we'll take you direct to a scheduling link. You can schedule an appointment right then and there. It also has my email on there, and then phone number as well. So it's kind of all in one spot when it comes to that. Right now, we are located inside the MATA building.
Okay, cool.
So we have a space that we're just running out in there right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're trying to create a resource center for individuals to come in and have, if they have questions, they have things. We've got different agencies that are in there to be able to help with those kind of questions. So just at that 17 North 6th Street at the MATA building here in town. So those are some of the ways that we can be contacted.
Okay, no, that's sweet. So I'll have all that link if you're watching on YouTube and such. I'll have that link down below so you can go check it out. But that's cool that you're in the MATA building. That actually had me thinking of a question. These services you offer, do you provide them in Spanish? Can you, so someone that's maybe not fluent in English or doesn't speak English very well, but is maybe curious about this, or, you know, like my mom, I'm going to send her your way or whatever, that maybe her English isn't as strong. Can you provide that in Spanish?
Absolutely. So si hablamos español.
Right? That's right. That's right. Okay, cool.
So yes, we do. And we've got agents who are also Spanish speaking.
Sweet.
So not just myself, but materials are in Spanish. Trainings we do in Spanish. Any education is in Spanish. The nice thing that we've got 2 carriers that we work with. So because we're brokers, right, we have multiple carriers, right, which are insurance agencies that we can quote with, right? And we've got 2 in particular that actually are really targeted towards the Latino community.
Okay.
Which is maybe somebody who doesn't have a social, right? Maybe it's somebody that has an ITIN, okay? DACA, whatever that might be, right? Whatever their legal status is, I feel like sometimes that's like, oh, I can't get that because I don't have, an ITIN, or I don't have a social, or whatever it is, right? So we do have carriers who can provide benefits because realistically, the majority of those people are going to stay here and they're going to be here, right? But even if they did travel, let's say to Mexico or out of the country, these policies, doesn't matter where you die, right? You're going to get your family's going to get that money, right? So the idea behind that is to really educate the Hispanic community.
Yeah.
Because if we don't, and we continue doing what we're doing, when somebody passes away and we continue to do GoFundMes, we continue to do fundraisers, right?
Right.
That's a temporary fix. That's like putting a Band-Aid on, like, a huge cut in your arm, right? It's like, that's not going to do much. The whole idea is to lift our community up.
Yeah.
And by doing that is to be able to make sure that we are properly protected. Unfortunately, think what you think, like people like conspiracy theory or whatever that might be, right? But if you ever wondered why life insurance and financial literacy isn't being taught in schools, it's not being taught in the community, there's a reason behind that, right? If you were Uncle Sam, you know who Uncle Sam is, right? The uncle that never comes to the quinceañeras, but
right.
he still wants you to pay, right? That's Uncle Sam, yeah. So Tío Sam, he wants his cut, right? He always wants his cut no matter what we do, right? We work hard for our money, but he still wants his cut. So if you think about a life insurance policy, life insurance is actually a vehicle that is tax-free. So when you pass away and that money that's left to your family, guess what Uncle Sam can't do? He can't touch that money.
That's really cool to know because, Uncle Sam wants every
Uncle
little piece.
Sam wants every penny he can get. So do you think Uncle Sam's going to educate you on a product and a service that he can't put his hands on, right? So, of course, it's like, we're not going to, I mean, if you find out about it, great, you can get it, whatever. I mean, it's been around for 2,000 years. Life insurance isn't new, right? But it's not something that's going to be taught and like, hey, you should really do this because you can create generational wealth. You can do this because it doesn't benefit them, right? So, of course, they're not going to want to push that on you.
Right.
But the car insurance, of course, they get a chunk of that, right? And they're like,
they want
I don't care how much you pay for that.
That's
We're gonna insure you no matter what you do. So.
Okay, those are some cool little pieces you just touched on there. The tax free and all that other stuff. But another question I had, we're talking about life insurance, et cetera, and people can reach out to Nichole directly if you have more questions. But I know you mentioned car insurance and home insurance and these other insurance. Do you do all of that as well? We don't. Okay.
My passion is life insurance.
Gotcha.
It is a more challenging line of insurance to discuss with people. It's a very touchy subject, right? Nobody likes to talk about that. that's my passion. That's where I feel like communities can be changed, right? That's my goal, is to change the community and change the families that are around us, right? So that they're pushing themselves up and not, we just keep digging ourselves a hole, right? So really our 3 lines of service that we offer is the life insurance. Okay. And there's 3 different types. We have term, we have an ROP, which stands for return of premium, and then we have an indexed universal life policy.
Okay.
And then the Medicare aspect of things, which is, again, it's free enrollment assistance. Try to say that again. And then the AFLAC, which is it's supplemental health. Okay. So those are really my focus. Okay. I feel like those are the more, it just takes more time. And I'm not about coming in and like, let's find a policy and get you out and get you going, right? My goal is to understand what families need, what they want, and who they are. They're not another policy that's being sold. It's a family that's being protected. Right. And to me, that's the more intimate relationship that I want, instead of selling them kind of what I call just the generic mandated insurance, right? So I have multiple agencies in town who are great with homeowners, auto, who I just refer out to and let them take care of that aspect of it.
Right. So, that's cool. So if you still have questions, reach out to Nichole. But another question, since we're talking about the life insurance and she's really touching base on that, another question I had for you is, we talked a little bit earlier about how people wait till that event happens, right?
Yeah.
When is the best time for someone to start life insurance or start looking into it?
It's a great question. So you can actually apply, and I say you because this is a 2-week-old we're talking about. So 2 weeks old is the earliest you can apply for a life insurance policy on your child, okay? People kind of freak out about the idea of like getting life insurance on their kids, but honestly, there's so many different policies out there that it's actually wealth generating policies that you can get for your child instead of putting $25 in the bank, right. For their future, maybe college expenses or whatever that might be. And you invest that into a life insurance policy because it's compounding interest over the years. You'd be surprised. They could have $1 million before, they're, I mean, it's like, you start putting money into that thing, it's just a money-making machine, right? But the other aspect of that is that's what most people will do, right? Because they see it as an investment for their future. We all hope that we outlive our children, right? 100%. Unfortunately, sometimes that's not always the case. But if you think about, you mentioned the time that people want to do it, right? Is when unfortunately it's already too late, right? I'm perfectly healthy. You're perfectly healthy. We go into the doctor's office, and remember maybe that headache that we just kind of put to the back of our brain, right? It's like, oh, it's fine, it's fine. Right. We go in and maybe get a diagnosis, right? Some type of cancer, some type of terminal illness, something like that. That's going to switch your life pretty quickly, right? And then that's when it's like, oh crap, I should probably look into something. At that point, it's too late. You also need to understand that the insurance companies are running a business, right? And they are not, they're going to look to see how risky you are to them before they insure you. So downside to life insurance is not everybody gets approved, unfortunately. Yeah. Right? So they're going to look at medical history.
I mean, it's their investment, so it's,
Yeah. Think about if I told you, hey, Edgar, give me $40 a month, and I'm going to insure you for $500,000, okay? So you're paying me $40 a month. Let's say you pay that for 3 months, and now you've got, you're $120 in, and you pass away, heaven forbid, right? Guess what's going to happen? Guess how that transaction looks to the insurance company? It's not very good, right? They're $120 into your policy, and they just have to pay out your family $500,000, right? So that's how they look at things, right? So they want to know how, when you're younger, when you're healthy, and unfortunately, when we're young and healthy, what do we think? We're immortal. Nothing's going to happen to us, right? Like, we don't need life insurance. Right. But said the kid that was, 23 years old and was killed in a car accident, right? Or these ATV accidents in the mountains. Like, I mean, we just never know when that's going to take place, right? We don't know. I had a cousin who was my age, woke up one morning, had a high fever, ended up passing away a couple days, it was about a week later. but fell into a coma. Athlete, healthy, young, like you're not typical, right? And it's just like,
you didn't see that.
Oh my
coming,
gosh,
right.
like that's how it's supposed to work. But unfortunately, if we only knew, we'd all gobble up life insurance, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So
yeah.
you're right. It's I always say the best time to get it was yesterday, right? Is the best time, because it could be a process, right? It could take, you don't just get approved and like it starts right away. They go through underwriting, right? It's a simple process, but it doesn't happen overnight, right? And so I've unfortunately had people that were in the process of applying for a policy and passed away over the weekend.
Oh, no.
Their policy had not gotten approved yet.
Damn, that
And
sucks.
So when I tell people, I'm like, let's start today, because you don't, there's no, there's nothing that you can lose by applying.
Right.
They're either going to tell you get denied, you get approved, and that's pretty much it, right? It's pretty cut and dry. And so if you don't apply, you're never going to know whether you're going to get approved or not and when your time's going to come. So it's definitely one of those things that as early as 2 weeks old, right? Because at that point, your child's probably pretty healthy. Things are probably fine, right?
Yeah.
But what happens later on in life when maybe your child develops some kind of illness, right? Because that would have been us. Same thing, right? If I was as a child, now I'm older, and I want to get life insurance for my family, guess what's going to happen? They're going to deny me. Right. Had my parents taken the step when I was 2 weeks old to get me something, that would have insured my life through the time I was with them, but my future family, right? So Future of Family Insurance Agency, that's what we're about, right?
There it is, FOF.
That's what it's about. It's like we've got to insure our future families.
That's
this is for our future. And if we don't, then, and nobody talks to us about it, then we won't. And we're going to be stuck in the same situation, complaining about why we are where we're at, and like we're not doing anything about it, right? So, apply the sooner the better, and that's today.
Yeah, because what you're really trying to lock in is that health, right?
Oh, 100%.
That health is really what's going to get you approved, or maybe even get you a better rate, et cetera.
100%.
Et cetera, et cetera. And also another thing that has happened that I was told is, maybe you think you're healthy and you apply for this life insurance, and then you get the physical, or I'm not sure what the process is, and then you find out you're pre-diabetic, you find out you're something that you had no clue
about. Absolutely.
And then you get denied because of it, and now you're like, okay, well, maybe I should get a little healthier. Let me, what is this that I didn't know I had going on? I thought I was a healthy person, So no,
100%.
Life insurance is I recommend to anyone, if you can apply for it, and it's more affordable than you think. It's probably cheaper
100%.
than your car insurance. It's probably cheaper than your home insurance, et cetera, et cetera. It's, if obviously it varies for person to person, but if you have more questions, reach out to Nichole. You can go to FOFFamilyinsurance.com.
FOFinsuranceagency.com.
There you go. I'll have the link right below for you guys to check it out and ask, message Nichole, ask her any questions you might have. Absolutely. And she will really guide you and really help you through the process. I know from experience, she's helped me a lot with my company and other aspects. So she's an incredible person. So reach out to her, email her. But yeah, if you have any other further questions, reach out to her.
Absolutely. I'd love to help. It's education, right? I'm first year educator. Then if we find something that fits, great. But sometimes we just don't know what to ask, and we don't know who to ask, right? There's never a stupid question, right? I didn't know this. I had to learn it, right? So I was in the same boat. I'm like, what is this life insurance stuff y'all talking about?
Right.
So don't hesitate to reach out, because you just don't know when your time's going to come. And unfortunately, we don't want to think about that. I always tell people, get a policy and forget about it. We'll review it in a year. Okay. We'll check it out in a year and make sure everything's still good. But just know that you're buying that peace of mind, and that it's going to be okay, and your family is going to be taken care of. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters, is that we are taking care of our loved ones. We're protecting who we love, not what we love. What is like our car, right? That's
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And then also, you're not leaving all your, like we talked about earlier, your debt, your all these problems for your family to figure out, when you could have figured that out prior to the event.
It is. It's like we've got to take that responsibility.
Right.
We have to take that responsibility, and unfortunately, we don't.
Right.
And it sucks. Like, I'm sure we've all lost somebody who we love. Maybe super close, maybe distant, whatever that might be. we've all experienced death to some degree. And it's very heartbreaking. It's a feeling you're like, you feel empty. And to have to worry about the financial aspect it's super unfortunate that we just don't take the time to figure it out and prepare. Right. It's just being properly prepared. And it's definitely one of those things that when we are, your family is going to be so grateful that you did.
Oh, yeah.
And being able to just leave that last memory of yourself, right, to them, it's incredible. And you're going to be so thankful that you did, and so are they. They're going to be like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad Mom had her, excuse my language, their shit together, right? Like
right.
they've got it together, and like now we don't have to worry about these because she laid it out for us. He laid it out for us, right? And this is so easy because it's such a difficult time in our lives that it should just be easy. And that's what our goal is to make it easy for families.
That's right. No, and it says it in the name, future of families. So make sure you're taking care of your families if you have one. And if not, take care of those people that are going to be dealing with the aftermath of that event. So, Nichole, thank you so much for joining us. And
thanks for having me. This is a blast. I love it.
This is fun. You got the change up of the studio. This is the first podcast we shot since we changed it.
Awesome. You guys what you guys are doing is amazing. It really is. And just to be able to touch the youth, how you guys do, it's phenomenal. So I'm super honored to be a part of something like this, to be able to sponsor stuff like this, just to see what you guys have done. And you guys are just going to continue to grow, and it's going to continue to be fabulous. And that's what I love about entrepreneurship is supporting each other's business.
Right.
So I'm super honored and super grateful to be able to be here with you guys today. I really appreciate this.
Well, thank you so much. This was fun, and the same goes back to you. I really do appreciate you and everything you do, not only for us but the community. Yeah, but before I let you go, I'm gonna put you on the spot real quick.
Yes,
I'm gonna ask you a question, and this question is, I'm gonna continue this for the rest. I might have changed the look of this podcast around, but this is the main event right here. I'm gonna ask you, what's dope in the slope? And when I ask this question, I want you to put me on someone, maybe shout out a company, a person, someone that's doing something dope in Western Colorado. It can be anything. I know, put you right on the spot.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So I have a couple of shout outs. One, okay. I would say I've got to shout out, again, a little bias here, but Vulcanizadora Speed Shop, Tire Shop, right? He's amazing when it comes to mechanic work. So that's my husband, Nichole Suarez. He just does, like, obviously he takes care of us, and I don't even know what goes on with my car, right? He's like, you just got a new pair of wheels. I'm like, I don't even know. It looks the same to me, but whatever that is. But takes care of a lot of people after work. During he's out there at all hours of the night, making sure that people are safe.
Yeah, right? He's amazing.
That they're on the road, they're safe. And their vehicle, because we spend a lot of time in our cars, right? So making sure those are safe. But we have a great community. I want to also do a shout out for Jamie Garano. Okay. She's a life coach here in town. And if it wasn't for her, I obviously wouldn't have taken the step she helped really push me. Okay. Like she says, she kind of has to kick your ass a little bit.
That's right.
And so she's been a huge help and mentor in my life. If it hadn't been for her, I wouldn't have went full time with my agency. Sweet. She helped with so many different things. So she's just doing incredible things as well. And I'm actually right now partnering with the Hispanic Affairs project here in town, and we are actually looking at doing a Latino Chamber of Commerce.
Oh, that's
for
sweet.
All of these Latino, sponsored, driven, Latino-driven businesses in town. So big shout out to them. They're doing great stuff, and with Mata as well. And what they're doing with the fiestas. You guys were there this last weekend, which you guys rocked, by the way. So yeah, being able to just be a part of, the Hispanic community, but also with the Women in Montrose, which Jamie Garano is a part of. Okay. Being able to be around just great people who really want to see you succeed. Right. I think a lot of times we don't get that, and so it's amazing to be able to have that. So.
Yeah, I feel like we all need a person like that, in our lives to kind of just light that fire under our ass.
Pretty much.
You
Pretty
know what
much
I mean?
that's what she does. She's like, "Do you want?"
She's like,
and I'm
"Come
like,
on."
I don't want to talk about that right now. And she's like, "You want it? You
Right.
said you want this, right? Like,
Right.
what are you willing to sacrifice and put in?" So
Exactly.
we do need that little ass kicker in our life sometimes to just push
That's
us
right.
and just make us get going. So yeah,
Sweet.
she's been amazing.
Cool. Well, shout out to those people. Again, check them out if you haven't. And check out Nichole's website. If you want to repeat it again, I don't want to say it wrong.
Yeah, no, you're good. So it's www.fofinsuranceagency.com. I almost forgot it myself.
That's right. Awesome. You guys go check it out, fofinsuranceagency.com. All that information is going to be down below. Reach out to Nichole directly and ask her any questions and protect your life. Come on, guys. Protect your family. These are valuable things, or at least they should be. Yes. But till then, contact Nichole. Any further questions, and tune in for more episodes, everyone. Thanks. Peace. And this episode is brought to you by FOF Insurance Agency, your trusted source for life insurance solutions, helping individuals and families protect their financial future by providing you with the understanding and affordability of life insurance coverage. Whether it's help with life insurance with living benefits, 401k rollovers, or saving money on taxes, FOF Insurance Agency is ready to help. Schedule your appointment today with Nichole Suarez at 970-209-5148. Again, that's 970-209-5148. Se habla español.